Hello and welcome to Burton Waters Marina near Lincoln. It is a glorious sunny day, but it is also quite literally freezing cold. The marina water froze overnight. I was in the camper van, luckily warm enough. I have a very good sleeping bag and of course my diesel heater. And this is a fairly standard marina. It's got boats that people moor here because they own them and they put them here for safekeeping. It's got a sails pontoon, it's got all the usual marina facilities. It's actually on the Fosdyke navigation, which is a canal of sorts that was built by the Romans, so very ancient, linking Lincoln with the tidal river Trent, which itself goes on down to the Humber estuary. As you might expect from such big rivers, a lot of the craft here are giant fiberglass inshore and coastal and even offshore cruisers, but they've got one or two other boats here as well. Let me show you around. It's quite a big old development, this. It's a combination of retail and housing and boats, and a lot of the houses then come with a pontoon for their boat. And then over this side you've got, like this one, boats for sale. And as you can see, most of them are these big Princess, Fairline, I don't know, all those other kind of makes, the stuff that Aquaholic normally talks about. Big fiberglass cruisers. That's a Sea Line there. Everything very iced up but looking glorious in the morning sun. And then, oh crikey, look what they've got at the end here. It's a tiny little narrowboat. I do like tiny narrowboats, as you may well know if you've seen some of my prior videos. I wonder if that's for sale. This is a 26 feet long sea otter. And sea otter are very, very unusual in narrowboats in that they are made entirely of marine grade aluminium. And not, as narrowboats are conventionally made, mild steel. And that of course means that they don't rust, although they can suffer from galvanic corrosion, which is a type of corrosion you get to the metal when electrical currents get to it and there are voltage differences, and it's all a bit technical and I don't really pretend to understand it, but it is something you have to look out for on aluminium boats. So no problem with them being in water, but you have to worry about currents when you plug them into shorelines and things like that. However, this boat dates from 2001, but it won't have a speck of rust on it. Well, it's a cute little thing, isn't it? So far as one can tell underneath all the ice. Maybe I should buy it. You can just make out there, slightly faded and under ice, the Sea Otter logo. The company went out of business, I think, in 2013, but you see a lot of sea otters around. Little compact cruiser deck at the back for sitting out with a G&T of an evening, or steering from, obviously, when going along. Engine is under the deck boards, a Yanmar, I think 29 horsepower. It's called gentian, I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it, but it's a type of plant, apparently, which explains the blue painted plant flower logo on the side. I was going to give you a peek inside, but the hatch is frozen shut. I've managed to make the doors free up, but the hatch bit needs to lift and then go, and it's absolutely frozen solid, so I can't. Maybe later. Shame about all this ice, though. If this was broken up, one could take the boat round to the slipway and haul it out for a bit of a survey or an inspection or something. There's an idea. Yes, clearly no problem with lifting boats out here. A slipway and a trailer and a tractor, and if that's not big enough, they've got one of the big boys too.
It's mainly a motor cruiser marina. We do have some narrowboat moorings as well, but as we're on the edge of the network on the Fosdyke, which joins the Witham with the Trent, the Trent's a tidal river and you can access the sea, so it's predominantly a motorboat marina.
So when somebody actually wants to buy a boat, what happens? They just give you a wad of money and drive off?
Most of the boats we sell are used boats, and that means that they're all subject to a survey. So people pay an initial holding deposit. We then move forward to a survey, which is an independent survey. Providing the survey is all good, they top up the deposit to 10%, and then they got a couple of weeks following that to pay final funds. There's always a little bit of negotiation here and there, and so obviously most deals get over the line, but yeah.
And what sort of things is a survey looking at? Is it just whether it floats or not, or what?
Obviously, it's a structural and mechanical survey, but also checking the boat is safe to use, and that all of the items on board work.
Now, some people will say, a broker just, fleecing off a bit of money from you, why bother, just buy it directly? So what value is it that the broker adds?
Well, there's a couple of things. First of all, we have a separate client account, which is aside from our business, which means that the money's looked after, so that the owner doesn't get your money before a survey. The second thing we do, also independent, so we're checking the paperwork to make sure that's all correct and telling you whether it's correct or not. And also we're impartial as well. Buying and selling a boat is very emotive, and we're sat there in the middle to take some of that away.
At this point, needing to move boats around to get work done, the marina sent out their old workboat to break up the ice. And fear not, as it was pushing down on top of the ice rather than breaking through it, there was no issue with damaging moored boats. The resulting gap meant boats could be moved.
With the ice now broken, it would seem rude not to take that round to the slipway for a survey, wouldn't it? I mean, while I'm here... What a cute little boat that is. I do like tiny narrowboats. Breaking the ice with the lifting device. You can, to be fair, see the immediate scars and battle scratches of cruising with those chips in the paint. But, as I mentioned before, it doesn't rust. It's coming out, tentatively. See all that water pouring out the bottom? Now, in any other boat that would be a bad sign, but the other unusual thing about sea otters, apart from the fact they're aluminium, is that they are water ballasted. The bottom of the hull, which as you can see has a slight curve on it, is actually a huge water tank which fills up when you put the boat in the water, and as you can see drains out when you take it out. Now, quite how a tank which has an open hole in it still manages to add weight to the boat, I've not quite squared in my own brain, but it works. Look at that dinky little propeller.
And then you can rest the front ever so slightly so that can drain more.
And this is what it looks like before a jet wash. So there's some sort of spongy growth things on it, and some little mussels, I'm going to say mussels. Waterways creatures anyway. And as you can hopefully see, there is this curve. It's not like a completely flat-bottomed traditional narrowboat. There's this curve because that is the ballast tank, above which you then have the conventional base plate, which forms the bottom floor, in effect, of the boat. Isn't it weird seeing a hole that is there deliberately in the bottom of the boat? clever system. The hole is big enough that the water can come in and get out, but once it's in the water is contained enough to give the boat ballast. And the point is that with the water out, the boat is substantially lighter, so that at this size, 26 foot, made of aluminium with no ballast in it, it is trailable if you have a suitable tow vehicle. Now I don't, but a reasonably beefy Land Rover or Land Cruiser or something of that ilk would be able to tow one of these on a trailer. I don't know whether it's inherent in the hull design for the ballasting tank or whatever, but you also get this kind of keel at the front, which I guess might help with steering. Here's the jet wash ready to spray all the gunge off the bottom of the boat, or it would be ready if the tap hadn't frozen up. So they're currently chucking buckets of hot water over it to try and loosen things up. Success! The hot water worked. The jet washing begins. Well, the jet washing has finished, so let's have a little look along the freshly jet-blasted hull. Not that I really know what I'm looking for. I suppose any great big holes would be obvious. I must say, these are quite large dents in the aluminium here. You can actually easily get your finger in these. These are actual gouges. They haven't gone through, but they're quite large. I don't know how on earth, in a steel hull, of course, you can do some sort of spot welding to fix that kind of thing. Is that feasible with aluminium? I do not know. You can see a dent in that, can't you? There's an actual dent in the hull. What the heck did it hit? And this drain, this is just where water from the well deck comes out. That's got a dent in it, that's hit something. I mean, aluminium is softer than steel. It will have dents. I'm not overly bothered. The boat is 23 years old. On the other side, it's not so bad. There's again a few scratches and gouges at the front. Long-time viewers may recognise this man currently looking around the boat. It's Justin Green, who did the survey on Rayland almost 10 years ago now, my word. And he's currently going through his checklist of surveyor things on this boat. Let's have a little look down this side as well then. The chine plate seems to be in good condition at the bottom. No great nicks and dents taken out of that. And the rest of it, well, it just looks like flat hull to me. I think this angle shows that curved bottom hull that is the water tank better. And it is time for the official hull inspection. Measurements and assorted things happen. The deck board is up, so I thought I'd take the opportunity to have a look at the engine. And the weed hatch. The green thing is the insulated hot water cylinder. The white thing in front of it, I think, is a fuel filter. And that is a box for the engine starter and one large domestic battery, 180 amp hour, standard lead acid type. That is some good thick sound insulation on the deck boards. Now, in the event that this boat should happen to come into my possession, I will do a full tour in the fullness of time. But I know you would shout and scream if I did not go inside. So let me just briefly show you what's here, which is, as you can see, well deck at the front, and bed thing to be made up here, kitchen, dinette, and little bathroom area. Look at this, a complete folder of manuals for the boat from when the original owners bought it back in 2001. Yanmar engine, an old BSS report. When does that last? Until 2026, that's the current one. Copies of boat instructions, invoices for mooring, and the original Sea Otter lifetime corrosion failure warranty. Look at this, the original price for what was bought, and oh, let's see what options they had. Battery charger was an option, a Thetford cassette toilet, a cratch frame, upgrade to 21 horsepower 3-cylinder engine. What was the engine before the upgrade? Oh, it would have been a 14 horsepower, but this has had the upgrade to 21 horsepower. Goodness me. Silver anodized windows, gas hot air central heating system, navigation lights, a shore power input, and sign writing. Well, well, well. Anyway, it goes on. Look at this, loads of stuff, which is a good sign, I think, when people keep that kind of stuff. And then this other folder is manuals for different rivers and things, like the Trent and the Ouse. It's a good name for a river, isn't it? The Ouse. Environment Agency, London's canals. I think this boat has done many an adventure. And I say that because if you look at all these waterways plaques, the boat has clearly been places. The survey is done and we're edging back towards the water. And now we will very gingerly, through the ice, take the boat back to its pontoon.
Very, very popular. But obviously, we're always going to sell the boat. So often what was originally told was we bought them and we ended up with them for a year before we could do it.
Well, Justin has done a very extensive survey of the entire boat, and I've just had a very good long chat with him about it. There are a few issues that need to be addressed, that's hardly surprising. The boat is 23, 24 years old. But there are things that can be addressed, a couple of issues which would need to be done for the boat safety certificate, a couple of other things. So there's some negotiation to be done with the broker and the owner, but essentially, I think I'll buy it. Thanks for watching. Cheerio.